Jeff, what are the benefits of prolonged fasting and how long is that?
Prolonged fasting should probably be defined as anything north of about 4 days. Clinically, this seems to be the minimum time required to upregulate something called autophagy. So that is the benefit of longer-term fasting, is that your body's most powerful system of healing cells and upregulating stem cell production occurs when this biological process called autophagy gets upregulated. That happens about 4 or so days into a fast. And when that happens, the body basically cleans itself out. It's like going to the mechanic and everything gets fixed. And although that's happening a little bit every day of our lives, it gets ramped into high gear 4 or more days into a fast. And this is why that type of fasting is probably very useful to slow down the human aging process.
Is caloric restriction like 5 to 2 a healthy way to fast?
So although, caloric restriction is technically not fasting, you can get a lot of benefits from being calorically restricted, mostly in terms of metabolic benefits like lower cholesterol, lower blood sugar, weight loss, less inflammation, etc. A 5-2 diet is a diet where 2 days a week you consume just 500 calories. So that has been shown clinically to help some of those metabolic parameters I just discussed. The company Nutra, who makes the fasting mimicking diet, also makes a 1-day fasting program, which is a similar caloric amount, which kind of mimics fasting for the body. So anyway, caloric restriction has a lot of benefits. Prolonged caloric restriction is probably not good for human health. And you can calorically restrict in a creative way that tricks the body into thinking it's actually water fasting. And that's largely the work they've done at USC. And those are called fasting mimicking diets.
What about skipping breakfast?
Skipping breakfast has become a popular way to do quote-unquote intermittent fasting, which is basically time-restricted eating, where you wouldn't eat in a 16-hour window or so between dinner and the first meal of the day. Getting a 16-hour window is a lot easier if you just get breakfast. So say your first meal is lunch to go 16. That was easy for a lot of people to do, but we're now starting to learn some pitfalls of skipping breakfast as a way to enhance your time-restricted eating window. Some of those pitfalls might include increased risk of gallstones, might include basically introducing another stress on the body, potentially making you more insulin and glucose resistant. So we're trying to help insulin resistance and diabetes with these ideas, but in fact, if we do them, we could become even more sensitive to insulin and glucose. So the other thing we see is we don't see longevity as experienced in like cultures that live a long time. We don't see those cultures skipping breakfast. So if we're trying to mimic the way people eat in cultures that are well studied to live over 100 years, skipping breakfast is not consistent with the epidemiologic data on eating for longevity.
Is there anything else people should know?
Well, just know that there's a lot of derivatives of fasting and they're not all created equal, and we're learning a lot more about fasting as we go, but probably the most bang for your buck, safest, well-studied thing to do is to just follow the science and products developed by Nutra, like the Prolon 5-day fasting mimicking diet. All of their proceeds go to nonprofit cancer research. To date, they have 18 clinical trials in their products. So they seem to have identified and created products that otherwise trick the body into thinking it's on a 5-day water fast, giving you all those longevity benefits with something that is very doable for most people because you're still able to consume about 700 calories a day. We know those products probably upregulate stem cells and autophagy. We know they're well tolerated. We know there's very few medical contraindications to those things. And in our clinic, we have 6 years experience now with advising patients how to do fasting mimicking diets.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks.